The best inspiring quotes about learning that will grow your mind. This message is brought to you by bookmare.com. In bookmare.com you will find and discover knowledge, advice, guides. Kindly visit bookmare.com to register today to become a member. It is free to join. Get full access to bookmare.com. You will get the best of any books, articles, advice, insight, profiles and guides. It is for you and everyone. We are big believers in the importance of lifelong learning. We think that there is always something new to learn and that our learning journeys should never come to an end. Learning anything requires commitment and the ability to push through the uncomfortable feeling of not being very good until reaching competency. While on the path to competency, a little motivation can go a long way. Below are some quotes about learning to inspire you on your learning journey. Those people who develop the ability to continuously acquire new and better forms of knowledge that they can apply to their work and to their lives will be the movers and shakers in our society for the indefinite future. Brain Tracy? 1 hour per day of study in your chosen field is all it takes. 1 hour per day of study will put you at the top of your field within 3 years. Within 5 years you'll be a national authority. In 7 years, you can be one of the best people in the world at what you do. Earl Nightingale. The ability to speak exactly is intimately related to the ability to know exactly. Wendell Berry. We now accept the fact that learning is a lifelong process of keeping abreast of change. And the most pressing task is to teach people how to learn. Peter Drucker. There is no end to education. It is not that you read a book, pass an examination, and finish with education. The whole of life, from the moment you are born to the moment you die, is a process of learning. Jiddu Krishnamurti. Tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, involve me and I learn. Benjamin Franklin. Develop a passion for learning. If you do, you will never cease to grow. Anthony J. D'Angelo? You don't understand anything until you learn it more than one way. Marvin Minsky. Research shows that you begin learning in the womb and go right on learning until the moment you pass on. Your brain has a capacity for learning that is virtually limitless, which makes every human a potential genius. Michael J. Gelb. Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. The greatest thing in life is to keep your mind young. Henry Ford. In the end we retain from our studies only that which we practically apply. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Study hard what interests you the most in the most undisciplined, irreverent and original manner possible. Richard Feynman. True teachers are those who use themselves as bridges over which they invite their students to cross, then, having facilitated their crossing, joyfully collapse, encouraging them to create their own. Nikos Kazantzakis. That is what learning is. You suddenly understand something you've understood all your life, but in a new way. Doris Lessing. Change is the end result of all true learning, Leo Buscaglia. Being a student is easy. Learning requires actual work, William Crawford. If you think education is expensive, try estimating the cost of ignorance. Howard Gardner. The great aim of education is not knowledge but action. Herbert Spencer. Study without desire spoils the memory, and it retains nothing that it takes in. Leonardo da Vinci. Education without application is just entertainment. Tim Sanders. It is what we know already that often prevents us from learning. Claude Bernard. Learning is synthesizing seemingly divergent ideas and data. Terry Hike. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Alvin Toffler. I never learned from a man who agreed with me. Robert A. Heinlein. You don't learn to walk by following rules. You learn by doing, and by falling over. Richard Branson. A man who asks is a fool for 5 minutes. A man who never asks is a fool for life. Chinese proverb. He who learns but does not think, is lost. He who thinks but does not learn is in great danger. Confucius. You can teach a student a lesson for a day, but if you can teach him to learn by creating curiosity, he will continue the learning process as long as he lives. Clay P. Bedford. The most useful piece of learning for the uses of life is to unlearn what is untrue. Antisthenes. The purpose of learning is growth, and our minds, unlike our bodies, can continue growing as we continue to live. Mortimer Adler. Every act of conscious learning requires the willingness to suffer an injury to one's self-esteem. That is why young children, before they are aware of their own self-importance, learn so easily. Thomas Szasz. The whole purpose of education is to turn mirrors into windows. Sidney J. Harris. You cannot help but learn more as you take the world into your hands. Take it up reverently, for it is an old piece of clay, with millions of thumbprints on it. Sidney J. Harris. There is divine beauty in learning. To learn means to accept the postulate that life did not begin at my birth. Others have been here before me, and I walk in their footsteps. Elie Wiesel. There is divine beauty in learning. To learn means to accept the postulate that life did not begin at my birth. Others have been here before me, and I walk in their footsteps. Elie Wiesel. Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Malcolm X. Leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. John F. Kennedy. Education is the ability to listen to almost anything without losing your temper or your self-confidence. Robert Frost. The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. Dr. Seuss. Change is the end result of all true learning. Leo Buscaglia. Change is the end result of all true learning. Leo Buscaglia. Learning is not attained by chance. It must be sought for with ardor and attended with diligence. Abigail Adams. If you are willing to learn, no one can help you. If you are determined to learn, no one can stop you. Abigail Adams. Learn as though you would never be able to master it, hold it as though you would be in fear of losing it. Confucius. A wise man can learn more from a foolish question than a fool can learn from a wise answer. Bruce Lee. In a time of drastic change, it is the learners who inherit the future. The learned usually find themselves equipped to live in a world that no longer exists. Eric Hoffer. This message is brought to you by bookmare.com. In bookmare.com you will find and discover knowledge, advice, guides. Kindly visit bookmare.com to register today to become a member. It is free to join. Get full access to bookmare.com. You will get the best of any books, articles, advice, insight,